Now let's take a look at adding a little more detail to our 3D island here. So I'm going to go to my level 1 and I'm going to go back into the model. Really important that we go back into editing the model. Good way to tell if you're in it or not. When I select it, all three of these items are highlighted together. As soon as I hit edit in place, you'll see this in place editor of finish model or cancel model. Also, if you grab these individually, you'll see they're now individual elements since you're in the model. So I'm going to go to my level 1 and I'm going to go to my create tab. And for this, we're going to use a void sweep to create a bullnose here. So void's going to take out form from the positive 3D form. So I'm going to go to void sweep and I'm going to use pick path here. That means it's going to pick a 3D edge. So I'm just going to pick the 3D edge of this countertop. And I'm going to go ahead and go around, clicking on the edges of that countertop. That first one is setting the profile here. So now I have my path. Now I want to select my profile. And I actually want to sketch my profile, which should be an option right there. Okay, so I know that I can't see the profile in here. Oh, it's because the view's open there. That's why. In east here. So there's my plane for my profile. So I'm now going to go ahead and edit profile. It's by sketch. So I can sketch something in here. So I want to sketch in what I want to remove. So if I'm going to do a bullnose here, just going to start it here. So I'm using my start end radius arc. So one click to start, second click to the end, and third for the radius. Okay, then I'm going to select it and I'm going to move it out here so that it's lined up. All right, so remember this needs to be a continuous path and I'm sketching what I want to remove. So I'm going to go ahead and close that loop by sketching 3 lines here, here, and here. And it's telling me that my lines cannot intersect each other, which is correct. So I must have gone over a little bit. Oh, I did right here. So I'll move that just a little bit. So there's a little gap there. So it won't be perfectly 2 inches, but that's okay. And then I'll go ahead and finish that sketch. And then I'll finish. So that was just a sketch for the path. Now I'm going to finish the profile itself. So you can see that profile right there in 3D. I'm going to finish the sweep. All right, and then when I deselect it, you can see how it rounded that edge there. And it took out, so if we look at it in 3D again, it took out that portion. So that profile that we drew now is applied. It's cutting this, so it took out the positive form of that, leaving us with a nice bullnose. All right, you can also use void forms for other items. I'm still going to stay within my model here. I did finish the sweep, but I'm going to stay within my model. If I go to create and void forms, I'm going to do a void extrusion. And by default, the work plane for these is going to be level 1. So if I turn this on here, it's going to, for the work plane, I'm going to say show. So it's going to show you what plane you're in. So if I were even in 3D, if I started to sketch right now, it's still going to draw it on the floor. So if I want to change that work plane, I can do that by saying set. And then I can say pick a plane. And that's going to allow me to use another element in my model to model off of. So if I wanted to model something off of this plane, you see I still have it on to show the work plane, but you see how that adjusted. So this is now my work plane. So now if I were to draw something here, when I finish that sketch, it's going to create a void and recess into that item. So I can copy this around, or I can go back into my extrusion and create several. You can also, make sure you have your dimensioning right for this. Now I'll leave it at the 6 and 6. I'm fine with that, but I can copy this around just using my copy command. Let's look a little far away. Let me move them over one more. But you can start to create various forms within the casework. And this will work as well. Right now I'm just doing the voids. I'll go ahead and finish this. All right, now the start end and the start are right here, similar to what we were doing before with the height. It's just now relative to the work plane that we're working from. So if this was just like a detailed, you know, recess here, it doesn't have to be all the way back 1 foot. You can change that adjustability. And like I said, I've been doing voids, but if you wanted to add additional detail that's positive in form, you can do that. It's extrusion. I'm going to check. It's still set to this. But if you have additional detailing to be added in, you can add that in as a positive form. Just remember that the end and the start are relative to the work plane, all right? So wherever it's starting from that work plane. So let's say this is maybe only a little bit of detail here. And then also, I already have a material parameter applied here. So let's make it casework material, or it could be an accent. Maybe it's toe kick material. You can add as many parameters as you want for that. But then you can apply a material to that as well. So you can, really start to add in and detail these items with the different types of tools that you have here for building purposes. All right, so then I'm going to go ahead and finish my model. I cannot form the radial dimension. We'll delete that dimension. Oh, it adjusted because of the one that I had here. It adjusted because of the radius. And now if I go into 3D, we have one custom island here. And there you go.